Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Fear the Queer.
A show that talks about everything on our gay agendas. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Josh. And on today's episode, we have another guest star. No introduction really needed at this point, so I'm just going to say, welcome back, friend of the pod, Jill Konkel.
Woo!
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be back. I was thinking, really, the times I've been reflecting on the year, the times I've been on Fear the Queer have been some of the highlights of 2020. So I am so happy to be back.
Thank you. That makes one of us. I'm kidding.
Oh my God, I don't know where that I was like, okay, who does that insult? I can't tell.
We'll just
Probably
leave it
me.
at that. No, I'm kidding.
I felt insulted. I don't know. And you kind of peppered it in there. Insult, peppered.
Right.
So, it's 2021. We have the very first episode of the new year. And we decided for this week's topic, we are going to be talking about sex positivity and the effects of what that goes on. But first, Kyle, what are we drinking today?
Well, look at this cup. Oh, you can't. Well, I got this silver cup. It's like one of those cups. I got it from this really fancy store here. Oh, like a beauty marketer. I got it from a fancy store called Michael's. And guess how much it was? $6.99, 20% off.
I was gonna say $7.
Oh, it's like The Price is Right, but you would have lost, Josh, because you're over.
Yeah.
I know.
But I'm drinking coffee out of it because, well, it was hot coffee. Then I let it sit. So it became cold coffee. And now I can have it in my shiny space age cup. What are you drinking?
Beautiful. Well, I actually went back to water because the last episode that we did, I drank a glass of wine.
And
However,
your life is ruined from it.
right, basically, because the room that I record in doesn't really have like a good ventilation system, so it got really hot in here. And on top of the wine, I felt like halfway through the episode, like he'd be like, "Josh, what's your number 3 of the year?" And I'd just be like, "I don't know." Like, I don't know. So I switched back to hydrating myself, and here's the clear skin in 2021.
Yes. Here.
Joe, what are you drinking?
I am drinking as well water, and no surprise there. You know, I'm a water gal. I'm trying to get a jump start on kind of detoxing and getting my body back to how it was when I was in the summer, when I was working out a lot in quarantine, being really bored. So I'm trying to get back to that and even better. So,
Well, cheers, queers.
Cheers, queers. Clink, 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 clink.
All right, but before we get into the heart of our gay agenda tonight, we are going to do a brand new segment for you guys. So, not to say that we always are ahead of the culture, but that's what the segment is called, ahead of the culture.
So in our previous episode, Josh talks about how we always are the moment. We are a little amateur psychic.
No.
We're ahead of the culture. Oh,
We're not
we're
the
not
moment.
the moment. We predict the moment.
There you go.
There you go. And so in this
I knew
new
you were going to say
segment-
that.
Yeah, amateur psychic. We're on the same page. We have telepathy. We have
ESPN.
ESPN. Love Sports Center. So I think that because we always are ahead of the curve, flatten the curve, head of the curve, whatever. We are doing this new segment to kind of talk about what we believe is going to be the moment in 2021, whether that's personal, whether that's as a society, whether that's trends that we think are going to be happening in 2021. So to get us all started, Josh, I'm going to let you go first because it's a new year.
Oh my
and
God.
I'm a new person, and
That
you know
collagen has
what?
gotten to you.
I have been doing liquid collagen, and this is also not a sponsorship. But if you are interested in getting your skin back or your hair growing fast again, try liquid collagen. Josh, I think it would work great for you. And
Is 2021 Kyle like no longer soft? Like, or is
Like-
that just
I'm just like, that was 2020. 2021, I'm mean again. No, I'm just kidding. Your hair is long and luscious, and your skin
Thank you.
looks so good.
Oh,
So,
thank
like,
you.
yeah, it's the water. I'm going to keep drinking my coffee and looking like a rusty old nail. But Josh, what is your what are you predicting? Look into
So
your crystal ball.
yeah. So for 2021, I feel like us as a group outside of the podcast, we've all have had very deep philosophical conversations over this past year. I mean, how can you not? We're stuck in quarantine. There's a lot happening in the world, whether it be the pandemic, the Black Lives Matter movement at the height of what it was back in June, to having to realize like how shitty our government is and how they just do not give a fuck about us. I feel like we've all kind of realized over this past year of just what actually is important to us and what we do want to fight for versus what isn't really that, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it really isn't a big deal anymore, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And I don't know if it has to do with the fact that we are in a pandemic, we're getting older. I don't know. Anyway, long story short, my prediction ahead of the curve 2021 vibe that I'm giving out is that I feel like this year is actually going to be the best year for all three of us in terms of personal growth. Because, because I feel like, one, we know what we want now. Two, unfortunately, I have to say this out loud, we're all on the verge of turning 30 or are 30. I know.
Can I just like side note? Like
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but like I am 30 and it is not that big of a deal. Like I don't know. I it is not scary. Age is just a number. Anytime I think of how old I am, my thought doesn't go, "Oh my God, I'm 30." I usually am like, "Oh, I'm 25." Like I don't know her. I don't know the age of 30. So don't worry.
I only feel 30 when I wake up in the morning and I'm just like, oh, like I need coffee right now.
I feel like you're 30 when you wake up in the morning. I'm like, oh.
So anyway, I feel like for the prediction of 2021, I feel like all three of us are actually going to have great personal endeavors that we have accomplished in this year. And I think that's just a reflection of just who we are as people. The fact that we have taken the lemons that 2020 has given us and we are all turning it into lemonade into 2021. And
cut it up and put it in your vodka sodas. We're ready to go.
Hell yeah.
Exactly. Only 100 calories.
I think that's great. I think there has been a lot of personal growths in quarantine, and like I know that I just had to go to the dermatologist to have it removed, but I think that like personal growth is important.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Kyle, did you see that coming?
I did. I saw that coming.
Mm-hmm.
And let
It's
me
a
tell you,
gift.
it's a gift. And being in 2020 quarantine, seeing anything coming in my face is just like, whoa, hello.
No,
Stop,
thank you.
get your head out of the gutter. I'm not being sexual. I'm a lady.
You said in your face, not on your face. So
Exactly. We're getting to the sexual part in a little bit because we are a
True.
sex positive podcast.
True, very true. All right, Kyle, what is your ahead of the culture prediction for 2021?
So I feel like this thing has not had a moment since the invention of razors. I feel like, with quarantine, everyone's conception. Talk about quarantine babies, not conception. Everyone's preconceived notion of what is deemed presentable in.
That's what you were trying to say.
It was. I mean, I got sex on the brain. Let's talk about sex, baby. But I feel like everyone's idea of what they need to look like or what is deemed respectable in public spaces is kind of changed, which I think is better. I think we're growing as a society that we don't need to be like, oh, we have to look like this to be deemed respectable in our field. Because let's face it, if you're working from home, which I have not been working from home, but if you are working from home, maybe Jill, you can attest to this, you can wear your pajamas and it's okay. Like,
yes.
You can be comfortable and you still get your job done. So along that kind
Sorry
of
to cut you off, Kyle, but to go off that, I actually saw on LinkedIn a woman actually changed from her professional headshot. She put as her profile picture on LinkedIn kind of like a zip up hoodie, not perfect hair, very little makeup, and she explained it's this is me, and working from home really is here to stay. And this shows that I can be dressed like this every single day and still do as good of a job or better as if I was in the office in professional business attire in air quotes.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, I think that since we kind of started with this idea in quarantine, I think it's going to carry over into 2021, when things, people start getting vaccinated, things start opening up again. I think the trend is going to be comfortable clothes in like going to the club, going out to dinner, comfortable clothes. I think this unkept sort of like your hair's like not perfect, your hair has gotten longer, you don't get it cut. But I think this is my big moment. I think that they are going to have a moment, and this is why, throw out your razors. I think the brows. I think that the unibrow is going to become a fashion trend. I do. I think that fashion, and design in general always kind of looks at, well, Josh, no, you're just giving me wrinkles when you put your eyebrows together. I look over at Josh and I just see oh my gosh.
Is this what
Don't
you
do
mean?
that. Don't do that. You didn't have any wrinkles, so you just did that. But that just shows you that your skin is flexible enough that it goes back to the same spot. I don't dare to try it on my face. I'm going to try it. Oh, what? Oh, I just get pinker. I'm like the Jolly Pink Giant. But I feel like fashion and design always takes from what society is doing. It doesn't always dictate what society is. And I think right now, a lot of trends are going to go towards this like unkept comfort, like hippy dippy, free to be you and me, like don't shave if you don't feel like shaving sort of vibe. So I think unibrows are going to make a comeback. And you know what? Rewind this months from now. I'm going to say fall 2021. Runways, fashion runways, they're going to have models with like unibrows, like purposeful. I think ad campaigns, bushy brows, bushy unibrows, it's going to be a comeback. I don't know why I'm thinking this. I just do.
Well, yeah, and it's crazy too, because like when you think of the fashion industry and you think of like the things that they sell, like when you remember when gap teeth became like this huge trend, and so many models that were highlighted like have like a huge gap in truth, which some people would say, not me personally, but some people would be like, why are we highlighting like bad dental like work here, and stuff like that? Why is that considered trendy and stuff like that? So I totally think that is a really interesting.
It could happen.
Yeah, I like that.
It could happen. Just kind of like unkept, easygoing, like instead of people being like, wow, your hair's not done and your eyebrows are shit, they'll just be like, okay, well, we're not really too worried about that. Like just put on the clothes and walk the runway.
Yeah. Well, and you think about it, like Ali Alexander, doesn't he have a little bit of a unibrow?
Maybe. I mean, most of the people.
I know Joe Jonas kind of does.
I mean, there's a lot of people I find attractive, and they have unibrows. I think it's making a come up. I've even thought maybe I should stop shaving mine because I have the trauma of being in 5th grade. See, I have a little bit of a unibrow, just a little bit. Kind of, you can't really tell. But I shave it because in 5th grade, I had like peach fuzz there, and kids made fun of me so much that I just started shaving it with my mom's razor, and no one knew. And now I have to do it like every other day because otherwise it starts growing back.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. So maybe I'm like, well, I don't feel like doing that anymore. So that's the trend.
See, you'll start the trend ahead of the culture.
Ahead of the culture.
That's great. All right, Jill, what is your prediction for 2021 ahead of the culture?
Well, I actually like to also kind of fancy myself an amateur psychic. And this was something that we didn't mention, but in one of the last episodes of Fear the Queer that I was on when we discussed RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star Season 5, there was a fun little anecdote story about how I ran into Nikki Blonsky in New York City. And a very fun story. And then we had her do a little commercial for us, and it was an amazing cameo that she did for us. I mean, she really went the extra mile. And Nikki came out as a lesbian a week later after she did that for us. So I really think the three of us just have some kind of
frequency of being ahead of the culture.
Right?
And I mean, sorry for that was just a little thing of wanting to toot our horns one more time. I will never pass up an opportunity. But I really kind of like what we were talking about, Kyle. I honestly think working from home is here to stay. And maybe that's
Mhm.
just me trying to put that out into the universe because the CEO of my company really wants us back in the office. But I'm trying to kind of manifest that we will stay remote and not just working from home, but I really think working from anywhere is really going to kind of take the world by storm. Personally, one of my best friends, Esther Hicks, little shout out, she lives in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I went to see her in October and I stayed there for about a week and a half. And I didn't take any time off. I just worked the entire time. And I really think that that's one of the great benefits of being remote is that I would never be able to do that otherwise. And obviously I was as productive as I would be if I was in the office or at home. And even over the holidays, I didn't take any time off and I just went to my parents and worked from there. So I really do feel like that is going to you're definitely going to see a lot more of that. And I understand with COVID that really affected the small business and small businesses are still being affected and they need to be getting a lot more help than they are receiving. But I do feel like out of COVID, there are surprisingly, I think, are going to be a surplus or an uptick in small businesses because I feel like people have spent more time at home and have developed new hobbies and new passions and new just other ways that they can make money. And I really do feel like we're going to see more small businesses, whether that's an Etsy shop or really anything. I think we're going to see more people creating things at home and creating their own businesses and being more entrepreneurial with that. So I'm excited in that sense because I really do think that will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
totally.
think you're right on track. That just kind of went through my mind. I'm thinking, okay, so all these companies that have people go into offices, like think of all the office space that people take up for certain companies. If they're all working from home and maybe every so often have to go into the office for whatever reason, you're not going to need all that space. So in kind of like a community standpoint, just throwing this out there, maybe someone can do something with us who understands things better. But wouldn't it be great if, like, let's say that your company has like 5 floors of a building somewhere. And you're like, you know what, really, we only need 1 floor since everyone's working from home now. We only really need 1 as like a home base. What if someone was able to take those 4 floors and make it into a place to house people who don't have homes, like that are homeless, and help
Mm-hmm.
them get back on their feet and help them, apply for jobs and just give them a place to stay instead of sleeping in the cold? Because it's like, if you're not using that space, why aren't you doing something good with it? So I hope that's kind of on yours too, Josh, where it's like people are helping each other and more at peace,
Well, I was just gonna
you
say,
know?
a common theme of all 3 of our things is deconstructing what we used to think as what was normal and what was
Mm-hmm.
acceptable and
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
completely being like, this is bullshit. Throw it out the window. Let's actually put in the work to make a better world. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
personally think that that is something that could happen in 2021 if we get the right people on board. Like people who are willing to put into work is what I'm basically saying.
Well, and I think it's interesting because people will always be like, "Oh, that's not possible." And it's like, well, you're saying it's not possible, but why do you say it's not possible? It's like the idea of, abolishing the police as we know it and creating a different law enforcement that actually does things to help the community.
Mm-hmm.
The police as we know it, we've been a country without the police as we know it. They've only been around for around 150 years when slavery was abolished. So to say like, "Oh, that's not possible," I think limits people. And I think that as a society and as humans, we are so much bigger and can imagine worlds where things are bigger, more possible, more positive, and
Mm-hmm.
helping people, getting rid of preconceived notions, coming together for the greater good. That's 2021.
Yes,
That's
I think
2012.
so too. And to
Right.
kind of to touch on what you said, Josh, about personal growth, I think with 2021, I think definitely more people are going to be more motivated to go after their endeavors just because we've been so stifled this entire
Mhm.
year that we can't go after our endeavors as much as we would like to, or certain endeavors at least. And I think now, once we're released, it's people are going to be a lot more motivated just to kind of seize the day and enjoy the moment and really make the most out of our time.
Right. It's
Yeah.
liberating. It'll be a liberating year. And so when we come back, richer, more beautiful, and
Yeah.
more
It's over for
popular.
all
I don't
you
know.
hoes.
Right. I was gonna say. Basically, I didn't want to like toot my own horn, but basically, it's just saying we're gonna be those bitches.
I don't know if I'll be richer, but I'll be better. I don't know where my coins are coming from.
And now to get to the heart of our gay agenda today. So we decided to have an entire episode based off of the topic of sex positivity. And the reason why is because of the recent announcement from Pornhub. And I'm assuming you guys have already known about this, correct?
I wasn't sure what PornHub was until we decided to do that. I am a good Christian woman.
I don't even know what porn is.
You know
I
what?
don't
We're
know
just
what
going
it
to
is,
cancel
you know?
this episode now. Goodbye.
You can't cancel me for being in love with the Lord.
Right. Only I can be canceled on this podcast. Okay. So for those of you who
Yes, we did hear that, but fill everyone else in at home who may not know.
I was gonna say, for people like Kyle and Jill, who are good Christian women and who do not know what went on. So
Mhm.
back on December 4th, the New York Times posted an opinion article, and it was written by Nicholas Kristof, and it was titled "The Children of Pornhub." And basically, what the opinion piece was just saying Pornhub has now become like this huge household name platform. Like they have billboards in New York City, advertising the website. They even have like award shows now where like popular guest stars come in and like perform for them. And the point of the article was just saying that for someone who has such a big platform, they are doing a really bad job of trafficking the content that's put on their site, specifically with sex trafficking, underage people, and rape videos. And for those of you who don't know, when you go on Pornhub, what used to be on Pornhub, you could upload anything that you wanted to, as long as it didn't have, from what they knew as, child porn. And you could also download and save that video onto your laptop if you'd like. So in the article, they wrote down things like, Pornhub is like YouTube and allows members of the public to post their own videos. Because it's impossible to be sure whether a youth in the video is 14 or 18, neither Pornhub nor anyone else has a clear idea of how much content is illegal. Unlike YouTube, Pornhub is allowed to see these videos to be downloaded directly from its website. So even if a rape video is removed at the request of the authorities, it might already be too late. The video lives on as it's shared with others or can be uploaded again and again and again. The issue is not pornography, but rape. Let's agree that promoting assault on children or on anyone without consent is unconscionable. So basically, that's the whole point of the article. I can't get too much in it because it's a really long piece. And then after that, Visa, MasterCard, and Discover then blocked anyone from purchasing anything from Pornhub. And that's how a lot of people actually made their living on Pornhub, was being able to buy into their videos, become a fan of theirs, similar to what OnlyFans does. And then finally, on, I think it was December 14th, Pornhub finally just pulled the plug. And unless you were a verified user where you uploaded a picture of your face saying, this is me, this is my content, this is what I'm putting out, all of it was deleted. And it actually saddened a lot of sex workers and people who use Pornhub as a way to make money. Pornhub themselves even made an announcement saying, the same forces that have spent 50 years demonizing Playboy, the National Endowment of the Arts, sex education, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, and even the American Library Association now has attacked Pornhub today. So their stance is just saying, we are just in a long line of people who are trying to oppress our bodies, our work. And at least on my end, I completely agree with them. And I think that this is unfortunate for a lot of people who rely on that. But I'm going to open up the floor to you guys and see what do you guys think of this decision that Pornhub did? And could there have been anything that they could have even done to stop this?
Well, I think that, like, let's just say, we'll put it out there. Obviously, we know that underage people in videos is not okay. That rape videos is not okay. Like, we are not saying, oh, we'll bring those back.
No.
But I have to think that, like, in a lot of different industries, when something is not going okay, they end up just kind of like doing a huge overhaul. That instead of just being like, oh, we need to target this one thing and really do away with child pornography. Instead of doing that, they do a huge overhaul, which negatively affects a lot of people. And while they claim that it is for the children, the receipts aren't always there. I'm not super well versed, no pun intended, in Pornhub's situation necessarily. But I think about like Tumblr. Tumblr used to be a huge place for porn to be seen and shared. And what was it, 2-3 years ago? They just got rid of everything they deemed explicit. The issue is that their algorithm can't understand what is, a consensual sexual encounter between two adults and something that is inappropriate. Also, they started flagging really anything that had to do with the human body. It could have been a picture of people in their swimsuits, and they'd be like, this is sexual content.
Right.
And it'd just be pictures of people at the beach. So I think that while they say it's for the children, the receipts don't track that. It's like they say, oh, it's for the children. They demonize everyone.
Right.
And then instead of being like, oh, we're doing this for the children, and we have this organization that we've set up to actually help people and help children who are victims of these crimes. They're just like, oh, we're just going to demonize everyone.
Everybody.
For the children.
A few of my pictures from, because I was definitely a Tumblr queen. We used to call it the tumbles, if anyone, but I used to call it the tumbles, and I just felt like everyone else did because a lot of my other friends did. But then I would post pictures of myself, and I mean, not in in dresses or something. And I remember I was just waxing poetic looking at my Tumblr blog a little while ago and just going from years ago. And some of my pictures were put as, this might be sensitive content or something. And I was like, me? It's just,
little old me.
Yeah, it's seriously though. I was low-key kind of flattered, but then also was like, what? So, yeah, it's crazy now.
Well, yeah, and Kyle, you brought up a good point. It's just like the people who are deciding what's appropriate or not, they can't tell the difference between anything unless it's like an actual human going over this content and be like, what's the context of this? And I doubt anyone's going to pay anybody to be able to do that. So it's just going to be a bunch of robots just deleting.
Which proves
content.
they don't care. They don't actually care about helping children who are victims of sex crimes. If they were, they would actually get involved in organizations that try to stop sex trafficking that happens every single fucking day in our own communities. I think that it's kind of like plastic straws. It makes people feel as though they're doing something good and tangible to help change the world. But in reality, it's out of our control what is happening. But it makes us feel good. It makes us feel like, okay, we deleted all the porn and we got rid of all the porn, and that's great because we're saving the children. Are you though? Because I'm pretty sure there's still shit going down in your own community that you're turning a blind eye to. Just saying.
Well, I was going to say, like, I feel like all it does is open up the doors to find even seedier ways to get that content out there. And people will go to even greater lengths to be able to do this stuff. and which could be even more damaging. Just to bring up something really quickly, Pornhub actually did make another comment comparing themselves to Facebook, because I don't know if you guys knew this, but Facebook recently said that they found like 84 million instances of child sex abuse imagery on their website. And
oh my God.
we all know Mark Zuckerberg doesn't give a shit. We all know that Mark Zuckerberg
Right.
is just in it for the money at this point. And so we talked about how Facebook is practically dead now because people just ran it into the ground of just posting fake news, just, you know, turning this into this.
I'll die on
cesspool
this
of-
hill that boomers ruined Facebook. They
Oh,
ruined,
totally. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
destroy. That's why, I mean, I play the stock market, and I won't invest in Facebook unless they buy other platforms, because Facebook itself, it's dying. It's boomers. They absolutely ruined that platform. I mean, we obviously joined in the peak of Facebook, and it was a place that was fun and at one point, but now it's like, I remember there actually was a Tumblr meme where where it was like remember
On
when
the tumbles.
when the Dos Equis guy was the meme, and it was like, I don't always post a funny post on Facebook, but when I do, it's ruined when an older relative comments on it.
Yeah,
Like, they've absolutely ruined it.
they really did. And it almost was the downfall of just like marketing it as like anyone can then join and anyone can be a part of this. It's just like, can we not? Like, I don't want this. But anyway, what I was gonna say is that, what?
No, go ahead. Well, I was just going to say that when it comes with Mark I'm sorry, are we going to talk about the tumbles again? Did you just take a tumble on the Tumblr? Not the tumbles.
Not the tumbles.
No, I kind of want a shirt that just says, you go on the tumbles?
Oh, I wanted to create a shirt, like the song "I'll Tumble for Ya" from Culture Club. I'll Tumblr for ya. Tell me that's not iconic.
That's
Okay.
great.
We'll give you a percentage. We'll make that and we'll put it into the Fear the Queer shop, and we'll give a percentage to AMK.
Could you imagine in like 2012? God, everyone would have worn that. Anyone who was anyone.
With tumbling.
Anyone with the tumbles.
Anyone with the
Anyone on the
tumbles.
tumbles. God, they just ruined that site. That site, I honestly feel, and sorry to go on a tangent about Tumblr, but Tumblr, I honestly feel like when I meet people who really share the same sense of humor as me, 99% they had a Tumblr. That literally just formed my sense of humor, everything. I loved Tumblr so much, and by regulating it, they really destroyed that site because it was just so different than any other social media, and I miss it.
Well, and it's weird because it's like
don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened.
yeah.
Smile because you tumbled.
Well, it's weird too because it's just like you have websites like Tumblr that actually, in its heyday, used to be a really popular website.
Right.
People were able to share their own content, whether it be like sexual or just like shit posting. And then you have corporations like Facebook that need to be regulated, and yet they don't. And they still are considered, like, and me personally, they're still one of the most powerful social media networks, because don't they own Instagram too?
They own Instagram, and I think what's scary is from like a creative standpoint, Instagram the past like 2 years has become so ruined with ads, and this idea, like every other post is like an ad to buy something. And as a creative, it's really hard to get yourself seen and get your stuff seen if you're not playing Instagram's game when it comes to, like, they just started making reels, and which it's like, well, we have TikTok for that, right? Well, Instagram's trying to keep up with TikTok, and instead of being like, no, Instagram's just a place to post pictures of like stuff you like and your friends and places you go, they're like, no, it's going to be this new capitalist marketplace where you can buy things, and you should be doing this thing that you already do on TikTok and make it reels. So they end up helping people in their algorithm get seen more if you use Instagram's features. But that's another thing is people post on Instagram like half naked pictures or pretty nude photos, right? And it's not super regulated where people like anyone, a young person could click on that photo and see that photo, unless that account is private. And Instagram, I don't know if it's the algorithm, I don't know who's behind it, but more often than not, people of color and queer people, when they post a sexual picture, even if it's them in their underwear, them at the beach, whatever it might be, but they're showing skin, they will have their post flagged on Instagram. Now, this is Instagram. You would think like,
Mhm.
oh, you're able to post a picture of yourself at the beach. But if it deems it too sexual, and it happens more often to queer people or queer sex workers, or people of color than it does to, you know, the cis white straight guy who's posting a picture of him in a Speedo saying like, come get it, ladies. Like, you know.
I was just gonna say, because going off of that,
Mhm.
so like when you share content on Instagram, a lot of people used to be able to use hashtags as a way for it
Mhm.
to be shown in the algorithm. People who don't actually follow you can then find you in like the search bars and be like, oh,
Right.
this is really cool. This is really interesting. The other day, I just realized something. If you type in the hashtag gay boy, which is a lot of people, like gay men use to be able to promote their work, I don't know if you can see it. We'll post
I
this
can't. Yeah.
later, but it's all white men.
Yeah.
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 Like,
It's these platforms that you think should be for everyone, really still favors a white supremacist system. And
mhm.
those systems are dying. Like, that's the thing, is those systems are dying. And while I love Instagram for the sake of getting to connect to fellow creatives, I don't see it being popular in the next 5 years. Either something else will happen, it's on its way out. And I think
Yeah.
Facebook is killing it. I think Facebook, not like, ooh, girl, kill it, as in like it's you know, digging it
Ruining
into
it.
the ground. It's ruining it. Thank you. Yeah, it's
That's
ruining
why I
it.
feel
Right.
like TikTok, people are more on TikTok now. I feel like TikTok is really kind of the top dog, or is getting there, because that's really what the younger generation is on. I mean,
Mhm.
personally, I deleted my Facebook before the election, and literally no part of me wants to have it again. And I feel like a lot of these younger kids, I remember growing up, like you had a MySpace and you had a Facebook, and that was anyone who was anyone had that. And I remember, like, if you didn't, you really couldn't talk to people, because I remember when I was maybe 20, I deleted my Facebook for a while, and that was like the biggest thing for people. It's like, you don't have a Facebook, because there wasn't all of these other options. It's not, okay, catch me on Instagram, catch me on Snapchat, all of these other things. It was, you had, Facebook was really the top dog. And now it's like you kind of just trim the fat. It's like, I have a TikTok, I have an Instagram, I have a Twitter. If you want to follow me on those, at JMK Skincare on Instagram. Just kidding.
We
But
love a plug, and since
right.
it's the
Right.
sex, and
Um,
since it's like the sex positivity, we love a butt
yes,
plug.
get it. And Facebook, I just kind of felt it was not serving me. Every time someone posted on there, I felt more and more annoyed. And I knew by the election, and I'm so happy I deleted it before the election, especially with how this election played out, how it was, we didn't know the results for, felt like ages. And then a lot of people thought it was still so much fraud and refused to accept the results. And I am
They
just
still
so,
do.
yeah. And I am just so happy that I did not have to endure that. And I
Mhm.
don't miss it literally one iota.
Yeah. I agree. I almost want to get rid of my Facebook soon because
Do it. It's the
so
best.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say, getting like back into the sense of like sex positivity, I also feel like places like Snapchat, places like Twitter, places like, well, not really TikTok, but that's just because the platform itself is a little different. Like those are where people can actually thrive in promoting their sex work and promoting not even that, but just also just having a sense of being able to just do what you would like to do and not feel censored by it. So do you feel like people should just start going to places like Twitter or TikTok to be able to do that? Or do you think they're also going to eventually get taken over and then weed it out because for the sake of the children?
You know, I kind of mentioned this off recording, but it's interesting because everything, we're coming into a day and age where sex positivity and people's sexuality and kind of owning themselves and being okay with sex, or, finding their own personal relationship to what sex or lack thereof means to them. While that's becoming more mainstream and more of a topic, I mean, we're talking about it right now, although we're always ahead of the curve. We I feel like anytime it becomes more mainstream, the people who were at the forefront, such as sex workers and especially sex workers of color, are now getting the short end of the stick. And I think that just goes to show you, once you involve people with a large amount of money claiming to be helping or doing something, they're really not. I mean, look at the LGBTQ community who fought for our rights. They were queer people of color and trans women. And yet you fast forward all these years and they're almost like forgotten about or underappreciated, or it's all about like the cis white gay guys, and
or anyone with power. Yeah.
Or
Right.
anyone with
Or
power.
money.
And I feel as though when it comes to sex positivity, I think those with money and power will continue to do so.
Right.
Like get rid of the ones that actually were at the forefront fighting for these rights and fighting for being open about sexuality. They're just going to be like, all right, whatever. Anyways, and move forward.
Right. I mean, it's crazy too, because it just kind of all ties in with like women's rights, like LGBTQ rights, like anyone who actually dares to liberate themselves against the systems that try to push us down, they're eventually going to just get punished. And
Because
there's nothing.
We're all connected, though. That's the thing, is that I think once people realize, oh, your rights are connected to my rights and my rights are connected to their rights. Once you realize everyone's rights are connected, including people who are, for the sake of the conversation, are not sexual or not into sex positivity, or maybe that's not comfortable for them, that's okay. The fact that you are able to make that decision still ties into the freedom of choice to have those decisions made.
Oh, totally. Like you can openly say, I don't feel comfortable with saying that, and that's okay too. Yeah. Jill, what do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting because there are certain ways to promote yourself, and promotion is so important when you are trying to do an OnlyFans, not even just an OnlyFans, but trying to kind of market yourself in this type of industry. And yeah, I think it's important to use as much as you can. And that's what social media is. Use it to your advantage. I mean, there's so much of social media that is really bad for society, but if it could help you make a little coin, use it. I mean, really try to kind of turn it on its head and use that to your advantage. I know there's controversy with who released this tape. Was it Kris Jenner? But I believe in the story that Ray J released the Kim Kardashian tape, and look what she did. She turned it completely on its head, took a man's portrayal, and she's the most famous person in the world now.
Yeah.
So yes, I can complain about social media left, right, and center, but also can you use it to your advantage to get yourself ahead and get yourself some money? Yes, and do so. And do it as long as, like Kyle was saying, you have to play their game. Don't show your nipples. And I mean, that I'm totally free the nipple, but Instagram and all these other social media aren't. So really
please welcome to the stage, free the nipple.
So
sorry.
It's just play it as much as that you can so that you could make some money. And I mean, I'm a businesswoman through and through. So hustle and think about how you can get yourself ahead. And if that's posting a suggestive picture on Twitter and saying, here's a link to my OnlyFans, if you want to see more, go and do it. Push the line as much as they will let you without deleting your account.
Sorry. For some reason, when you said the link to my OnlyFans, my brain was like LinkedIn, and I was like, LinkedIn.
You want to see more? Yeah. Go to my LinkedIn.
Oh my gosh! Could you imagine if someone was promoting LinkedIn? I would love.
There is some business person out there that's like, you want to see where I've worked? Where I worked at Hot Topic and Spencer's and Route 21.
Spencer's.
I've worked at the whole mall in circa 2006. So no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when did you work at Spencer's?
I
Because I would
wasn't
love to
allowed.
hear those stories.
I wasn't allowed to walk into a Spencer's till I was like 18.
It
so.
always made me uncomfortable for some
And
reason.
look at you.
I
Yeah,
know. Look at me
us
now.
So
I
oppressed.
But I think use it to your advantage and promote yourself as much as possible. You know, I when I was in college, you know, I was putting myself through college. I was a phone sex operator. So and you have to promote yourself. You have to create your own shtick, how that can separate yourself from everyone else. And I was always on Twitter. My character had her own Twitter account. I wrote blogs every day. And yeah, you have to do what you have to do. You know, you have to put yourself out there and differentiate yourself from everyone else.
Were there moments where you felt like you had to get around any type of censorship or anybody who actually tried to like knock you down a peg or two in any way?
You know, it's interesting because I definitely had the backing of the company I worked for, and the woman who ran the company, she had been doing this for years, so she really kind of knew what to do and what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
There was censorship in the sense, the only time I felt actually censored, which I mean, and I was violating the terms of service, so I understand in this case, but I had created a Tinder account for my character, and I basically was saying, you know, if you want to talk to me, my rates, and then here's my number, and I put that in my bio. And I must have gotten reported rather quickly because that account was not up for that long. But on Twitter, I towed the line of what what their terms of service were. I never posted any nude pictures. You know, just suggestive talk and links to my blogs and things like that. I would post, I mean, they give you pictures of somebody to post, so it was never myself, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, I would only post the pictures that were clothed or, you know, we're covering boobs and everything. So really, but Twitter lets you get away with a lot. Twitter does not get the recognition that it deserves. I think it is getting more regulated now because of everything that's going on, but for a while it did let you get away with a lot and you could promote yourself on that. But yeah, luckily I didn't get much censorship from people, which I was grateful for.
Yeah, I was gonna say I mean, good for you,
But
honestly.
you know,
Like being able.
you have to behave. You, like you said, you have to play the game. You
Mhm.
can only go so far because you don't want your account deleted.
Right. And it's just unfortunate that you do have to play the game in order to
Right.
promote yourself. I think that's the unfortunate thing. It's just, especially the people who just are existing and their
Right.
existence alone, people are just like, not you. No thanks.
Well, here's a question: how much of this, you know, this upsurge in sex positivity, which I'm all for sex positivity, how much of it is people wanting to own their sexuality versus having to survive in a capitalist system by needing to sell themselves? Because I'm thinking about the EMT worker who was exposed in having an OnlyFans and ended up losing her job as an EMT worker, which
Right.
like, who cares? But that just kind of is like, you know, I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's
Well, it's crazy.
upsetting. Oh, sorry. Go on, Josh.
No, I was gonna say, and also like quick side note, it's crazy too. She's an EMT and she has to get a second job in order to support herself. That's
Right.
so insane. Anyway, go ahead.
It's weird in terms of these companies and everything because, you know, with her being an EMT, it's
Mm.
not like she was wearing the name of the hospital she was working for in her pictures or anything. I honestly feel like my job is not my identity. I mean, and this is coming from somebody, I dreamt, the company I work for, I have dreamt for working for since I was 20 years old. But I will flat out say, this is not my identity. I am not my job. I am not the
Mm-hmm.
company I work for. What I do, I work from 8 to 4. Whatever I do before 8 and after 4 is not their time.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't feel like that is, it shouldn't be legal because you're not representing the company. She's not doing it in the back of an ambulance. If she's doing it at home,
That'd be interesting content.
Oh my gosh, I know. Wouldn't that be
Talk
fun?
about a lot of alarms going off.
Yeah, getting your heart rate up. But
Give me some oxygen.
but it's upsetting, and that was me too. I mean, I did this because and this was actually low-key kind of trailblazing ahead of the culture. I needed, because I was in college and I needed a job where you could work from home. And that was why I became a phone sex operator, because I had already had a job. I was in school full time, and I needed a job where I really could make my own hours and be at home, and just really where I was in total control of it. And that is why that appealed to me. And I mean, I'm a sexual person. I knew I was going to be good at it. And also I'm good with people. I have a very good memory and I connected with people. But that is the thing I want to say as well. If people are looking at sex work as a way to get out of something or as a way to make money, it really, I don't want to deter anyone from it, but it is an extremely, extremely difficult industry. No matter if you're in an OnlyFans, or you're doing a premium Snapchat, or posting pictures of yourself, or being a phone sex operator, any type of sex work, it is, I just want to let people know, it is not a get rich quick scheme. It does not guaranteed money. It is extremely hard work, and it's actually more work than, I guess, a more conventional job would be. When I was a phone sex operator, I was working all the time because I was trying to build a clientele, and I was really when I had my core clients, it was on their time because they were giving me a lot of money. So if they were saying, I can only get away and call you at 3:00 in the morning, I got up at 3:00 in the morning and talked to them because that was $300. And to me, that was worth it. But for people who are thinking, well, I'll just start an OnlyFans and I'll become rich AF, that's not going to happen. It's just not, especially with the amount of competition there is now, because I think a lot of people think that an OnlyFans or something is their way to make it and to become rich. And that is just not the case. It takes a ton of work. It's a lot of work. And yeah, that's just kind of my side tangent, but it is a bummer that people have to turn to this to kind of try to get ahead in life. But like anything, you should have a passion for it, and it should be something that is sexually freeing to you. Because if you don't like this and you feel horrible doing it, or it's not fun, it's not worth it. And this is coming from someone who has been in the industry. It's not worth it if you do not enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because it's not money overnight. It's
right.
just not.
I think that's the hard part too, is a lot of people think that even if they're sort of like semi comfortable with their sexuality, I think it just goes to like, I mean, I'll harp on capitalism all the time, and I'm guilty of participating in this capitalist hellscape. But I think that it does say something when people who want to own their sexuality and show themselves, and they're comfortable with that, and it gives them power, they have the ability to do that. But I think sometimes people, they don't feel super sexual or anything like that, but they have to survive. And we've been placed in this situation where that might be their only option they feel that they can do, as opposed to wanting to do it, which obviously there's plenty of people who want to do that. They feel almost like forced into it.
Right.
Well,
it's crazy too. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's very hard, because that's the thing. If they feel, and that's what I felt in college too. It was one of the only jobs that worked for me. Like I said, I needed to be at home. Because my schedule was so erratic amongst my other jobs and going to school. but it took me a while to really build up to make money. So it's difficult if you're using this to survive. I just want people to know it takes a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
yeah.
and that's the unfortunate thing too, because I feel like for three people who I can say we're all sex positive, why is sex work so difficult, like for people to have to survive to do it? You know what I mean? Like, why can't we live in a world where we can provide safe spaces for people to do this,
Right.
where we can have people not feel like they're in survival mode to do it? Um, and people can actually benefit of making money off of it. Sorry, go on a little side note here. You guys know about the Bella Thorne OnlyFans
Yeah.
Yes.
situation? Yeah. Okay. So let me bring it up really, really quickly. So it's interesting in 2020 that in this pandemic, a lot of people have turned to sex work in order to pay their bills because a lot of people are unemployed, especially people who are disenfranchised, people of the transgender community, people of the queer community, people of color, yada, yada, yada. So now all of a sudden, Bella Thorne, who claims to be a very, supportive, sex positive person, she joins OnlyFans, and apparently within 2 weeks, she had made over $2 million. And she's not even posting nudes. She's just posting suggestive stuff and charging $300 for people to buy it. And OnlyFans have now had to compensate with how much traffic it's been getting by limiting the amount of people that can be on a certain person's site, how much money they can actually give this person and things like that. And she's not the only one. There's people like Tyler Posey, Chris Brown, very famous people who, in my opinion, don't really need this money. They're just doing it because they're bored. They're taking away people who are actually, again, needing this for survive or to be able to survive. And it is crazy because we now live in a day and age where you can actually promote an OnlyFans, which is sex work, and it's kind of like a cool trendy thing. And yet people like there's a person who said that there's 17% of transgender people right now who are unemployed, who have been using OnlyFans as a source of income. And now it's practically limited for them, and they're the ones who probably need it more. So, sorry, gone on a little tangent here, but again, I think that's just another example of people who have the power, people who have the position to control other people. Yeah.
It's interesting to me, I kind of go back and forth with it because do I think celebrities should be able to go on an OnlyFans? Yes. I mean, it's a free country. I am not the person to tell you what money you need and what money you don't need. So yes, I mean, I think they should be allowed to be on OnlyFans. The thing with Bella Thorne is she affected a lot of people with her behavior on OnlyFans, and she was charging astronomical amounts on OnlyFans. You can do custom content, and that's honestly where you really do make your money. You make your money really from custom content and tips. And because you can have your monthly membership and people can join that and see your content, but that's only a once a month fee, usually maybe $10, $5. So yes, that is your base money, but where your real cash flow is coming is from your tips and your custom content, and where people are paying extra. And she was charging, I think, several $100s for what she considered nudes, and nude is no clothing, and she was posting pictures, I think, in a bra or whatever. That's not a nude. And that really put a damper on a lot of people's accounts, because then OnlyFans changed the amount that you can charge for custom content or pay-per-view, and they changed the amount that you could get tipped at once. So that is where I had a problem with her. I mean, I don't have a problem with celebrities being on OnlyFans. It's a free country, do what you want. But the way that she really affected people's livelihoods, in the sense that they changed all of the rules, or not all of the rules, but a lot of the rules, and a lot of the money that people can make by what she did. So that's where it becomes upsetting, because she really did affect people's money. And in America, affecting people's money is really, really a messed up thing to do. And
Mhm.
so that is where I have a problem with just particularly the way she behaved. I mean, if Jordan Woods wants to have an OnlyFans, go for it, but don't be an asshole and ruin it for everybody else. And that is what
Yeah.
Bella Thorne did. So
Yeah.
come at me, Bella Thorne.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
a thorn in your side.
Yeah, she really is though, low key.
Yeah. And yeah, I agree. I'm not trying to say that like celebrities can't be on OnlyFans. I just group them all together because I feel
Sure.
like all of them collectively were part of the problem that Bella Thorne definitely was a huge part of.
Yes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Now, do we know a question? Do we know if OnlyFans do they? You said you gave the statistic for transgender people on OnlyFans. Was it them on OnlyFans, or was that just a general statistic? I'm sorry.
It was a general statistic that Human Rights Campaign
Okay.
put out in May of 2020. So it might have increased, it might have decreased by the time that we're recording this, but that's
Sure.
the most recent one that I've seen.
I was just thinking, I was like, I wonder if, we were talking about algorithms
Mhm.
and what is going to be pushed towards the forefront and, who's going to end up in the background. And I wonder if, I don't know, does OnlyFans have an algorithm that is going to promote white, cis people towards the forefront, and especially celebrities, and then
Mhm.
push those who are more marginalized to the back? I assume the answer is yes. But I don't know. I don't know how OnlyFans works when it comes to their marketing. I know that a couple months ago, I read that, a lot of Drag Race contestants now have OnlyFans. And when Shea Coulee won All Stars 5, she decided to start an OnlyFans, but it's like not a sex-based OnlyFans. It's like behind the scenes stuff.
Sure.
And OnlyFans partnered with Shea because OnlyFans is trying to kind of like rebrand themselves as not just connected to sex work, that it's connected to like, almost like a Patreon, like you're
Right.
behind the
And that was what
scenes, you're
originally
more exclusive stuff.
OnlyFans was actually supposed to be like that. It was
Mhm.
kind of a Patreon, just kind of you pay for exclusive content, and then people took it and ran with it and made it what it was. But I think that's what the misconception is that OnlyFans has to be explicit nudes and things like that. But
Yeah, like raw
that's
dogging in
not.
the backwoods. Not that I've done that.
Exactly. Me neither.
I haven't. I'm so boring.
Speak for yourself. Before quarantine, your girl was living.
Right. Yeah, and it's interesting because it just makes me realize that how much algorithms suck sometimes. Like just
Yeah.
how much it. Do you remember when Instagram was just a timeline of when it was uploaded?
In chronological
that.
order.
I miss
Yeah.
that so much.
Same, because it was so embarrassing when I would see a post from somebody and I liked it and it was posted like a week ago, but I just saw it in my
Right.
feed and it makes me look like a stalker.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like, sorry.
I mean, like I when I post things, people will like it, and then I realize I'm like, oh yeah, but then they like 5 other posts from like recent, and I realize they just haven't seen my stuff
Right.
in the feed. I wish that Instagram would go to how Twitter is, where you can see like your top tweets or like the ones getting the most attention, or you can just see them in chronological order. I wish we had the
Right.
option. Come on, Instagram,
Yeah.
putting that out into the universe. Let's
It's
manifest that shit.
Make America great again, but make Instagram chronological again.
Right.
Just
Right.
give us the option. Like if you
Seriously.
wanna default to, what's top in the algorithm, fine, but give us the option to go
Mhm.
through chronological, because you can't see your friend's stuff anymore.
Hardly ever. Yeah.
And then
like,
you feel like a weirdo being like, oh, sorry, I liked your selfie from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know.
Well, and it's weird too because it's like you two are obviously like two of my best friends, and when it's weird when I go on Instagram and you're like the 6th person that I see after scrolling through like
Right.
4 celebrity photos, I'm just like, I
Right.
don't give a fuck about these people. Where's Kyle and Jill stuff?
Where's the celebrities I like? Kyle and Jill.
Exactly.
All right. So getting back onto the topic of sex positivity, because we like to go on tangents here.
Yes. Thank you
forward.
for wrangling us in, Josh. I appreciate it.
Of course. Moving forward, do you think that there's any way that people can combat against this, especially with instances like the OnlyFans or the Pornhub situation? Or do you think that we are going to constantly have to be battling for these things to be able to happen?
I think I mean, in the Pornhub situation, I mean, I understand it in the sense of you want to post your content that belongs to you because there's revenge porn, there's
Mhm.
a lot of things. I mean, there are a lot of people, myself included, where you send a nude or something to somebody you're dating or someone you're interested in, and then things don't work out, and you're like, God, I really hope they delete that. Or luckily, I mean, I've never felt. I've never been in a situation like that. And pro tip to anybody, if you are filming a sex tape or anything with anyone, do it on your phone or your computer and have control of it. That is just a big tip for me. Always be in control of anything that has your face in it or your body. Don't leave that up for anyone else. But there is a lot of stuff like that. I mean, even the Ray J and Kim Kardashian situation, I mean, he released that without her consent. And I feel like having tighter reins on it is good to an extent because I think, I mean, when you do an OnlyFans, you have to show your face, you have to show your information, you have to show that it's you because you are collecting money off of this content. And I feel like in Pornhub, I do agree with that. You should be able to prove your identity and prove that I own this content and it's mine to be posting and potentially making money off of, but it shouldn't come at a cost of other sex workers and with the censorship. And I think that's what is hurting. But yeah, there really should be kind of a tighter hold on things because I mean, I've known several people who have found themselves online and on Pornhub and private videos of themselves. And that is absolutely horrifying,
Mhm.
especially if somebody was able to upload that and potentially make money off of you without you knowing. And on a platform where millions upon millions of people can see your private video. So yeah, I mean, it's a fine line. I do think the range should be tightened on in terms of that, but not at the expense of other sex workers.
Right. Because I think what a lot of sex workers are worried about is the fact that you had this one opinion piece suddenly spiral into this huge outrage where
Mhm.
Pornhub then had to delete 80% of their content. And they're like, if
Yeah,
that triggered that much of a reaction out of Pornhub, like, how far can these people go? Like, how
right,
far can they go to push the limits of what is allowed on an adult content website or
right.
not? Um, so yeah, it's it's a weird thing because it's like there's so many back and forth. Because again, I agree with you completely. I do think that there needs to be more regulations of people not posting anyone with child porn or revenge, any like rape fantasy videos or things like that. I agree, but at what cost? You know?
Right, right.
I think as long as we have people who are in control and have the money, there's going to be people fighting against that their power structure. Like there's always going to be that, um, unfortunately. So it's the people who are hiding behind, oh, we want to, help the children, and because I feel like a lot of people use that or use what they deem to be more like conservativeship, um, as a way to actually just get rid of people's content and get rid of and make it harder for people to make a living
Right.
and thrive in what should be a free country, but we know that that's a loaded sentiment. So yeah, I think as long as people are in power, there's always going to be the need to fight, and that goes across the board, and not just sex positivity, but just like in any instance of working or
Mm-hmm.
fundamental rights. As long as there's someone in power with money, there's going to be combativeness against them because they don't always want what's right for you. I agree too. I think there needs to be some sort of regulation to make sure that people's private content isn't being released to the masses. but I think the people who are claiming to do what's right and what's good aren't necessarily actually doing what's right and what's good. I think they hide behind it,
So true.
which is unfortunate.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So then it's just like, so what do you do to help those who are now in a position where it's just like, you have my livelihood in your hands? Like, what can you do to help these people? We at Fear the Queer always like to think that donating to people's, what's the word I'm looking for? Fundraisers definitely helps. Anyone who has a particular GoFundMe to say like, hey, this will definitely help me with any expenses that may need to cover and things like that. So,
Sorry, Josh, before you get into that, can I make a quick point?
oh, of course.
In terms of OnlyFans and other people, I know a lot of people will say, and this is just supporting people's livelihoods. People will say, you know, I can watch porn for free. Why should I buy an OnlyFans? Or why should I talk to a phone sex operator? Or why should I do this? And I saw a post the other day, which people will ask that. And it's like, I look at an OnlyFans as buying your groceries from the farmer's market. You know where they're grown, you know they were ethically grown, you know they're organic and who's selling them. And that's the other alternative is like buying your groceries from a huge national grocery chain where you really don't know where they came from, where they ethically sourced, what's in them. So I feel like buying an OnlyFans, you know that the person did it consensually, that it's their content, that it's kind of like supporting a small business. And I'm just plugging other people to really try to lean towards that, because on Pornhub, when there aren't regulations and you don't know whose video this is from and who uploaded it, you're buying it directly from the source on OnlyFans. So I feel like just kind of plugging, supporting those types of creators instead of kind of mass produced videos.
Agreed. No, totally. Because that actually ties into what we were saying. Like, one way to take power back is to take your money and put it in the sources that should be funded. So I totally agree. I thank you for actually putting that in there. Subscribe to people's OnlyFans. Subscribe to places where you actually know where the content is coming from, including fundraisers. Obviously, I'm not telling you what to do with your money. If you can't afford to do it right now, that's totally fine. But the great thing is that you can always share everything on social media to get the word out there for anyone who might want to. So,
sharing is caring.
Yes.
Exactly. Feel free to share whatever you would like to with us or with your friends of just like, hey, this is what should be talked about right now. Open your pocketbooks if you can and donate. So any last thoughts or comments about this topic today? I know it's kind of a very large thing to go over, but I feel like we did pretty good with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of sex positivity and then kind of like capitalizing on it, I think that's a huge topic to come forth or to go through. But I think that also, just like a side comment is, I saw recently someone said, you know, when you say, oh, well, I'm sex positive, that just means you're okay with people's choice to be sexual about themselves. Because I've been told they're like, oh, Kyle, you're like a nun, you know what I mean? And like, I get that, but I'm also like, no, but I'm very like sex positive, like do what you want with your body, and like live your best life, as long as it's consensually. So I think like the idea of like sex positivity, even if people out there are like, well, no, thank you, that's not for me. It's not, it doesn't have to be for you. It's kind of like pro-choice. It's like you're just given the choice to do what you want with your decaying human carcass.
Right. In the words of Lady Gaga,
Jill, yes.
Exactly.
It's like Lady Gaga, do what you want with my body, but we don't like that song because R. Kelly's in it. But it's basically do what I want with my body. If I want to post it and post a naked picture of myself, I'm not asking you to do it. I'm doing it. And
well, I wanted to help you. Yeah. And you said, Kyle,
sharing is caring.
You just said sharing is caring. I'll bring over my ring lights. We'll set it up.
You're better at that than I am. Way better. So I mean, hey.
Only as Adele Weiss. If I try to do anything for Kyle Parker, I look like a thumb.
I know. Isn't that
But
crazy?
Adele
Our alter egos always
alter egos,
that
yeah.
matter.
No, when I'm Adele Weiss, I'm like, oh, she's feeling it. When I'm Kyle, I'm like,
Right. I know.
I look like the thumbs from Spy Kids.
Not the thumbs. I I definitely agree, and I just think with people, if that is something that you want to do, and that is something that you feel something, sex work, I think, is a form of creative expression. I felt when I used to write my blogs when I was a phone sex operator, I felt I was extremely creative. I think just it's an amazing, I think it's art. People can disagree with me, but I definitely think it is. So if that's something that you want to do, go for it. Just be safe about it and make sure that you are in control. And like I said, I know we touched on this, and just from someone who's in the industry, it is not a get rich quick scheme. So any of the people who are out there thinking, I'll do an OnlyFans or I'll do something and I will be, living in a penthouse somewhere, that definitely could happen, but it doesn't happen for everyone and it does not happen overnight. So that's just something I wanted to reiterate, but be safe about it. If you don't feel comfortable, don't show your face, and always give yourself maybe a different name and a different location, and just have fun with it, but be safe and know what you are doing, and make sure that you just every base is crossed.
Is this where you actually promote your OnlyFans?
Yeah, so if anyone would want, no, I really,
Okay.
I'm just saying, just the industry is crazy, and you'll see and hear a bunch of crazy things, and just be prepared for it. But it really is very fun and it's freeing, and I can just only speak as a woman. It is extremely empowering because you really do have these people eating out of the palm of your hand, and it really is an amazing feeling. But then there's very high highs and very low lows. That's why I'm saying you just have to enjoy what you are doing, and if it ever gets too much, you just unplug and you're done. And that's what I did. But I mean, I don't regret my experience at all.
You unplug and the charger for the vibrator just says.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's great. I think you're creating artwork. I think it's I mean, you do a couple of close-ups of Georgia O'Keeffe's paintings. It's just like a desert flower of yourself. Hello.
She was a lesbian, right? Georgia O'Keeffe?
I mean,
I think she was.
Probably has like lesbian tendencies.
I think she was, though, wasn't she?
So do you, Kyle.
Thank you. I hope so.
But yeah, I mean, Georgia O'Keeffe, I mean, yeah, hey, you could create that in Snapchat as well. Filters.
You could, you know what? If you want to make an OnlyFans, you can take this desert flower. That can be your name. Desert flower, a la Georgia O'Keeffe.
Desert flower.
Yeah, welcome to the stage. Desert flower, following Frida Nipple.
I love it.
Yeah, we're giving you names. Come on.
Well, you actually made a good point, Jill. I do feel like if you put more power back into the people of having control over their own content, I actually do think that's a great way to fight what they're actually trying to get rid of, which is the child pornography and the rape porn, but also still allows people to thrive in the market, as hard as it may be, for people who still need it. No, I think that was a great point.
Yeah, and watermark your content. And I mean, I've
make sure everything says "fear the queer," please.
yeah.
Just make sure that you really have control of yourself, because everybody, no matter how insecure you are or anything, you are very powerful, and you just have to believe it and know your worth, and don't settle for anything less, especially in this industry. Because I remember when I started PSOing, I thought, I was like, well, what am I doing? I'm just this regular person. I'm not a dominatrix. I'm not anything. But the character that I created was really just me, and people ran for it. And you just don't underestimate yourself. And this is just for anyone who wants to get into the industry or is thinking about it. Just know your worth, know how powerful you are, and just go for it. But be safe, and just like I said, be in control of your content and don't let anyone else control it, because that's you.
Jill.
And yeah.
Jill, your words were so powerful that it shook my desk.
Your whole desk, I saw that. I was like, oh my God, your desk just like, I was like, are we having an
You're very
earthquake?
poor. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the
Yes,
podcast.
thank you.
Oh my gosh. My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Where can we find you at? What plugs? Oh, where would you like for people to promote your content?
Right
Tumblr.
now I wish all the way jmk.tumblr.com was. I was pretty big on the tumbles, I will not lie.
Is your Tumblr still out there? Can people still come and tumble you?
It is, but under a different name, but it's still the same blog. I
Tumblr's kind of become a
rebranded.
tumbleweed.
Yeah, I know. I rebranded just because, I don't know, I was feeling it one day. But yeah, I mean, you can find me on JMK All the Way on Twitter, and you could also find me at JMK Skincare. But I'm really hoping, I have a few projects that I really want to take off in 2021. Things I didn't do as much just because I started grad school and things I had to be responsible in that sense. But I'm really excited for this coming year, and I have a few things that I want to kind of get out there. So I'm hoping the next time I'm on Fear the Queer, I can plug those. Among other things, I'll be plugging.
Well, don't worry, because we already manifested.
Oh, she's
I just heard
plugging.
you. I just heard that.
Plug it in, plug it in.
Oh, a plug-in.
No, remember, plug it in?
Oh yeah, plug it in, plug it in.
Plug it in. Yeah.
You know what? If you're using a plug-in for your butt plug, it's kind of. But okay. But hey, it'll always smell good. You got that lavender vanilla.
That is a bad bacterial infection waiting to happen. Please, listeners, do not do that.
Well, and if you want to know what
Anymore.
that bacterial
if you are doing that currently, please stop.
Yeah, please stop. And if you
Record
want
a
to know
video, put it on your OnlyFans and never do it again.
I was gonna say, yeah. If you want to know the outcome, just go ahead and go to my OnlyFans at plug it in, BB bottom at I don't know. I don't know. How
Yeah,
OnlyFans works.
something to that effect.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, your OnlyFans content, you definitely want to differentiate yourself, but also don't be safe
Just
about
be
it.
eating corn
yourself,
dogs.
Yeah.
I don't want to Gen Z, they ate Tide Pods. We have to be careful with them.
Yeah. They're fragile creatures.
They're probably too young
Survival
to
of the
even know what a
fittest.
plug it in is. So I mean,
Right.
whatever.
Careful, they'll try to eat it too.
Yeah, low key they will, and then they will cancel my ass. So
They're like, that JMK skincare, she told us to eat a plug-in, and I did it. And now I am in the hospital, but I'm recording it all for my OnlyFans.
yeah, they'll be making a TikTok.
Right.
Oh my God, they're like, because I'm a savage. Plug in,
Yes.
get me to the hospital.
Plug it in. Yeah. Yeah. That's where I'm
Considering
at.
the fact that I'm canceled now, and now Jill, we already manifested that you'll create new content, but then you'll be canceled because of it.
Probably will be. Josh, why are you canceled?
Kyle
I
just
said he
decided
canceled
one
the
day.
Oh, okay.
well,
Gosh,
Josh,
could you imagine us 4 years ago? Our asses all would have been canceled.
Canceled, yeah.
would I have been canceled?
We were. I definitely think there are some nights we all would have been canceled.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've been watching a lot of Real Housewives, and some of those fights that they get into, I have secondhand FOMO because I'm like, man, I want to just be in the room and be like, I miss seeing shit go down. I'm just like, oh my God, so crazy melodramatic entertainment.
Same. I saw a friend this morning, and I was telling them about our times at Landmark, and I say everyone always says my life could be a reality show. No, that really could have been a reality show. So we definitely
We'll promote all the episodes on our OnlyFans.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. If we did do that, oh my God.
It'd be perfect.
Like a
in
reality
OnlyFans,
show?
But it's a reality show that you have to subscribe to.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it'd be really boring, but
Yeah. Right now it would be super boring, but back then, oh my gosh.
Yep.
Well,
See?
we have no idea.
We're already manifesting our futures. It's great.
Yeah. Tons of projects.
I know I'm
All
a
right.
star.
So Jill, you just said JMK Skincare and JMK All the Way, both on Twitter and Instagram,
Yes.
correct?
I'm just Jill Konkel on Instagram. If you want to follow my personal account, please do. I don't really post much other than my nails, but I post a lot on Snap if anyone wants to follow JMK All the Way as well on that, which I post a lot of stupid stuff. So anyone's, but a lot of people tell me I'm their favorite snapper, and I really don't know why. But
Hey,
I'm just
wear
gonna
it with
insert
pride.
that compliment.
Yeah.
There's like the one snapping turtles that's like, I was the favorite snapper. Now Jill is.
Of the snapping turtle on Super Mario World, he wore like the football uniform.
Yes.
He scared me.
Yep.
He did.
He scared me.
He really did, though. He was really intense.
So I took his job as the best snapper in the world.
He scared
Well,
me. So
And
I
that
took
is the
over.
jump off. That's the jump off of the reality show.
Right, exactly. I was just gonna say that.
He
All right.
scared me, so I took his job.
Kyle, where can the viewers find us?
So you can find us at Fear the Queer Podcast on Instagram. We're also on Facebook at Fear the Queer Podcast. Don't email us because we never check our email. But if you want to get in contact with us, feel free to DM us. I'm just keeping it real. It's 2021. I'm keeping it real. We don't check
Right.
email.
We don't.
Just don't. I barely check my personal email. So yeah, feel free to find us on those social media platforms. If you want to follow me personally, you can follow me at Kyle Parker. There's no E in the Parker, so K-I. Oh no. K-Y. No, don't do that. KYLEPARKR on Instagram. And Josh, where can people find you?
Well, don't follow me on Instagram because my Instagram's really boring. But if you want to, it's at JAYBON91. I just post selfies all the time.
Well, I was gonna say, if people want to see your face,
Yeah.
people might
Or
want
like
that.
it.
Yeah,
some people might.
They're like, I mean, how many people do you follow that all they do is just post cute selfies?
Everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
Well-
don't, but yeah.
I was gonna say, well, not either one of you because you post your art and Jill hasn't posted since like 2017.
Right. I mean, I'm going to try to do more in, I know, famous last words, but in the coming year, I want to post more of hopefully traveling and things like that.
Perfect.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Like we said, we're already going to be liberating ourselves in 2021. So, well, anyway, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Fear the Queer. And as always, I'm Josh.
And I'm Kyle.
And I'm Jill.
And we're Fear the
Fear
Queer.
the queer.
Queer.
Oh, sorry.
Bye. It's okay. You'll get it.
Wait, no,
You'll
it's
get the
fine.
timing one day.
Yeah, honestly, it's so hard over like,
Said it at the same time.
you want to try to, like, here,
I thought we always got, and we're Fear the Queer.
let's do it. Okay, and we're
Fear the
Fear the
Queer.
Queer.
Oh, that's why. Okay, I get it.
Wait, one more time. And we're
Fear the
Fear the
Queer.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And we're, wait, is it a 3 count? It's a 5, 6, 7, 8.